going to present her second speech in the Pathways program. This speech will be the first of a two-part project. The first is intended for her to receive feedback from the evaluator, and the second part, she will incorporate the feedback as a third speech. The title of her speech today is Farming Fantasy, and the time for her speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Ken, please help me welcome Elizabeth Martin.
Good morning, everyone. Fellow Toastmasters, I am going to share my presentation with you, and I'm going to start here. Let's see. I can't find there it is. Okay. Well, I love dirt. I love the earth. I love soil. I don't know when this affection for earth and the soil and dirt started, but it must have been at a very young age, because I remember I used to like to play in the dirt, and I used to like to find bugs, and I used to like to, believe it or not, pull the little wings off of the ladybugs. Anyway, I just realized that maybe this came about because I was born in a small town, but I came to California when I was quite young, and we lived right in the downtown Los Angeles area. So everything around us was concrete, everything, the freeways, the streets, the buildings, everything. But I remember in the summertime, we used to go visit my grandmother, and she lived in Nuevo León, Mexico, in a little town called General Bravo. And we would visit her, and everything there was dirt. Everything, the streets. She had a small farm, and everything around there was dirt. I mean, the cows needed the dirt, and the animals needed the dirt. So I think it was kind of just something that was implanted there. So as I went on in life, of course, I lived in cities most of my life. And then I decided that when Ron and I got married, that I would just kind of put a little thought in his mind that maybe someday we could buy a little farmhouse, and have some chickens and have some animals. Well, as you can see, Ron's answer was, farming? No thanks. He had had enough of that, but he doesn't realize that a lot of his stories about his growing up on a farm also kind of made me have a little inkling to someday experience that. Well, I hope that by the end of my speech, you will understand a little bit more of why I love the earth, and you'll be able to just kind of join me in this little fantasy of someday owning a farm and what has happened in my life. I'm going to show you a little plot of land. And I thought, oh, I wouldn't mind having a little plot of land. It doesn't have to be much bigger than this. But of course, I felt like we should have a nice tractor, because it takes a tractor to really get some good soil. And I think this size would be okay, don't you think? To do the job, right? Well, time has gone by, and sometimes wishes do come true, but I never thought this one about the farming and planting and growing and doing things like that would happen. But something did happen, and it was a little bit of a wish come true, just maybe on a smaller scale. This is our immediate backyard in our house. So we go up to the fence. However, there is some property behind that fence that actually belongs to our lot. However, we did not have passage to get to the back. But one year, one of these bars came off, and I used to squeeze right through that open fence and get out to the backyard. And let me show you what that backyard looked like. And I thought to myself, well, I think this would be good farming land. You see a lot of green stuff there, right? It's like green acres. I mean, they're weeds, but it's got green growing on it. So I thought, well, maybe one day, but didn't do much with it, with the idea, until our fence really broke and it was just in need of a new fence. So we put up a new fence, and Ron suggested we put a gate there. So now we have a gate in our fence. This is the view of the back from one side. This is from the other side. Pay attention to these holes right here in the ground. Years later, this is the transformation of that far backyard. So a lot of this work was my motivation and my desire to have this. Ron really didn't want to have a part of it, but he was so willing to help me. And I kept reminding him that God had made me the weaker vessel. And because of that, I couldn't dig those deep, big holes that we needed so that we could start planting some of these trees. But these are the trees that we have in our backyard. We've got an orange tree, a plum tree, a peach tree, a macadamian, apple, plumeria, and a dragon fruit tree. Let me show you a picture here of my beautiful dragon fruit flower. I don't know if you're familiar with the dragon fruit, but it has this fruit that grows, and right before the fruit is this flower. And this flower blossoms early in the morning, very early in the morning. You have to get up maybe 5:30 or 6 to see it. And it doesn't last very long. As soon as that sun comes up, that little flower starts to look like this. It just droops. But right behind that is this beautiful fruit that has to stay on the plant for about another 4 or 5 weeks. And then it turns into this fruit. If you've never seen the dragon fruit, it's really pretty. And the inside looks like this. It's doesn't have any particular flavor. It's just refreshing, very cool. It's nice to set on a platter as an appetizer, and especially on a nice hot day. It's very, very nice. We also have our peach tree, and here are some of the peaches, and here are some oranges coming on our orange tree. It's really enjoyable to have fresh, organic fruit, and this is what we do as much as we can. Of course, there are ants and other critters. This is some of our pickings. I have a tomato plant in my first part of my yard, and then the plum tree, peach tree, and it's just wonderful to have all this kind of fruit. And I always have more than I can eat, so we try to give some away. Well, I was very, very happy in my little garden. We have a little gazebo, and sat there. We sit there many times and enjoy the birds. We have mockingbirds up in the tree, and they just love to go at it. And we have rabbits, which really entertain us. They come into our yard often, and they like to play with each other. They kind of chase each other, and sometimes one will just hop right over the other as they're running towards each other. And then there was this other little creature. Such a cute squirrel. Cute squirrely squirrel. I just thought they were so cute. And they were starting to come into our yard. When we first started planting, we noticed that there were animals there, like the rabbit and the squirrel. And of course, we get coyotes every once in a while. But we noticed that they started to multiply, and multiply quickly. And before long, I realized by the 3rd year, these critters were everywhere. There was an evil creature with malevolent intent lurking in my backyard. So even though I'm a person who's very industrious, who is has a lot of determination, as you can see, I turned that land, a plot of land, into something that would grow something. And for many years, I've been going to bed very satisfied. And I am going to end my story here. I have some more to tell you, so please don't miss part 2, which is coming soon, so I can tell you a little bit more about my adventures in my backyard in the dirt. Mr. Toastmaster.